The next area is what's called the Central Asian area. That's where Afghanistan is right here. It's a part of that whole middle part. There's South Asia, Southeast Asia, and East Asia. But one of the in the news areas is Afghanistan, and the 365 million Central Asians are hearing the gospel in a very desperate place to serve, to tell you the truth. And you know, the verse I saw displayed in the missionaries is what Joshua said, fear thou not, neither be thou dismayed, for the Lord thy God is with you. And this is a testimony of one of the doctors working at an outpost in Afghanistan. The first fellow I bumped into after I spoke, he said, could I eat with you? And Bonnie and I ate every one of our meals with different combinations of these doctors from the 58 countries that they came from. And this doctor sat there and he said, well, he said, so far we've lost 11 team members. 11 team members lost. I thought that meant that they went back to, you know, live in Florida or something from the mission field. He said, no. He says, they've broken in our clinic. Each time they've broken in our clinic, they've murdered more of the medical staff. And he said, and this is in Afghanistan, he said, we've lost 11 over the last 8 years. Now, if you're working at Bronson and someone broke in and murdered the staff members around you, and then it happened again, and then it happened again, wouldn't you move to Borges or something? You know what I mean? I mean, you get the idea. I mean, if you're in the clinic and it's a target and they keep breaking in and murdering, the terrorists do, wouldn't you get the hint to move somewhere else? And I said, and you stayed? He said, oh yes, all of us have stayed. He said, this is where we were called. He says, what greater thing could we do than instead of, you know, wearing out in some, you know, losing your mind and being in some memory care place, he says, isn't it better to be gunned down for Christ on the front lines? And I thought, it is. But most of us would rather go to memory care, you know, and forget about our problems. And so that was my first meeting, and I went, this is a whole different group of people we're dealing with here. Now the largest population of Africa, it's called Sub-Saharan, below the Sahara Desert. This whole ring across here are amazingly needy areas, and with 750 million people. And one of the ways that the doctors, especially, I was in a whole room full of especially doctors that work with infant mortality and the terrible obstetrical and gynecological problems that are part of the Sub-Saharan area, especially in these countries right here. And the theme, the verse that they clung to was from Mark 9, where Jesus said, let the little children come to me, of such is the kingdom of God, and to show their Christ-like compassion for children. And so the next doctor said, well, I probably have 5 a day die because I'm a OBGYN. And I have to look these women that come in from the desert in the eye and say, the baby within you is dead. And you are going to die too. It's necrotic. You are not going to. And I have to do that all day long. And she said, and when there's a stillborn child or one that dies in delivery, she said, the disowned Muslim family will not pick up a grain of sand to bury the child. And so this woman, obstetrical doctor, said, I spend my days digging little graves for these kids. And one of the other doctors says, yeah, same thing with me. And I said, you know, I'm supposed to be doing the seminar. I said, and why do you dig the graves? They said, because the wider family stands there watching. The family that lost a child wails and carries on in their culture like they do. And I dig the grave so that those people can see the compassion of Jesus Christ, because most of them have never seen. But the doctor said, you know, and that one, I don't know if they said they went to Johns Hopkins or to Harvard School of Medicine, and they said, digging graves in packed hard African soil for
hard-faced Muslims who they're looking at you saying, you Christian doctor didn't save our baby. She said, was not something they taught me about. They taught us, you put on the doctor outfit, nothing comes out, nothing comes in. That's the American medical way. You don't share you and you don't take theirs, you just do your job. And she said, I can't. She says, I have to kneel and help them and put that baby in the ground. And in that moment, I can share, without anybody stopping me, the gospel of Jesus Christ.